President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has vowed to keep promoting the rule of law, adhere to the principles of separation of powers, and tolerate dissenting views within the ambit of the laws of Nigeria. Tinubu said his administration had made steady progress in the effort to rebuild the country through legal and judicial reforms. The president spoke yesterday in Lagos when he declared open the annual General Conference of the Nigerian Bar Association. In her keynote address at the conference titled A Social Contract for Nigeria's Future, Director General of the World Trade Organization, Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, said efforts must be made to accelerate national growth and development, stressing that Nigeria has all it takes to succeed. The host governor, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, highlighted his administration's emphasis on security of life and property. Sanwo-Olu stressed that his state had the highest number of female judicial officers in the country. Tinubu, who was represented by Vice President Kashim Shettima, acknowledged NBA's sterling history of championing democratic ideals as well as promoting the rule of law. All right. Well, Dr. Wati, great that you're here when we're discussing the NBA conference. But let me come to you first of all, Rufai. The NBA conference, some outtakes from there, the president represented by his vice, the WTO DG who gave the keynote speech, and our host governor, Babajide Sanwo-Olu.
So a couple of quick takes. The NBA conference was centered about pressing forward, that was an overarching team, charting a course for, Nigeria. We normally have these conferences every year, and quickly, when you look at the things we talk about, we don't reflect in our national life. Because I've always thought that the NBA should be a platform where we have veritable conversations that would also impact our national life. This year, it was President Tinubu was represented by Vice President Shettima, and he said so many things I disagree with totally. He said they will give voices to people that have dissenting opinions. I totally disagree with that, because President Tinubu, you have shown that you don't like dissent. What you do speaks so loud I can't hear what you say. Look at the case of the End Bad Governance protesters, that their accounts are now being suppressed. Look at the case of journalists arrested. Over the weekend, over the media, we're talking about PDOM everywhere. The truth has to be said. A robust engagement with civil society and a robust acceptance of the fact that there will be those that don't agree with this government is what will make this government do better, and how they can take criticisms. But to a large extent, it looks to me, with the constant badgering and arrest of journalists, that this government does not want any form of opposition. We all saw how they lobbied pretty much for the End Bad Governance protest not to happen in the first place. So I totally disagree with that. And he says, okay, yes, we're doing other things as regards building the economy and all of that. But the question has always been, what you are doing is not reflective. We are not seeing the work on the economy. Today, we still have a lot of fuel scarcity all over the country. We don't even know if there's subsidies or not. Till today, we don't know the price of the presidential jet and all of that. And that's why Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala was apt that we need a social contract with the Nigerian people, because people have lost trust for the government, and it's indicative when they don't want to go and vote in elections. That's why voter apathy is on the increase. But also, we've not had sustainable development because we can't hold government accountable. And any time you try to hold government accountable in this country, they turn you into an enemy. They blacklist you. They go after your account. They say you shouldn't even do anything. No. That's why we need a social contract for accountability. That's how we can run government. She also talked about the need for socio-economic development. She also talked about the fact that we shouldn't politicize insecurity, because these are things militating against us in the country.
All right, Dr. Bati.
Okay, very quickly. NBA conference started yesterday, and it's going to last from August 23 to 28. Two major keynote speakers, Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, who spoke yesterday, Nigeria's ambassador at the WTO, and also John Dramani Mahama, former president of Ghana, who is seeking a second opportunity to be president of Ghana again. And then there were a lot of speakers at a very colorful, successful event yesterday. Now, this NBA conference, taking place in the city of aquatic splendor, is also taking place at a time when Mekiau SAN is leaving as president of the NBA, is handing over to Afamusigwe SAN, the incoming president-elect of the Nigerian Bar Association. So part of the conversation will be about Mekiau's tenure, whether he was an activist enough or not, and whether Afamosigwe is going to have a different kind of agenda for the Nigerian Bar Association. This particular conference is also coming up at a time when we have the second female becoming the Chief Justice of Nigeria, in the person of Justice Kudirat Kekere-Ekun. All of these events, will be of great instruction to lawyers who will be at the event. I was invited to come and speak at one of the sessions, but I just got back. I don't know whether I'll be able to make it, but we'll see how that plays out. Now, the NBA says for itself, it wants to press forward. Pressing forward will include a lot of issues about the interest of lawyers within the association. Also at a time when the NBA is facing issues about identity, about nomenclature, about people saying they want to form their own organization. That's as far as NBA goes. Now, the opening ceremony yesterday, President Tinubu was talking about respecting dissenting voices, and, encouraging justice reform. The same point that Kashim Shettima, Vice President of Nigeria, made on behalf of the president, where those same points were echoed by Lateef Fagbemi, SAN, Attorney General and Minister of Justice, about the commitment of this administration to the rule of law, to the welfare of their lordships, to respecting dissenting opinions. One of the things that President Tinubu claimed through Senator Shettima yesterday was that, look, under his watch, the salaries of judicial officers are being increased by 300%, and that the administration also has the plan to provide befitting accommodation for justices of the Court of Appeal in the Judicial Division, Appeal Court Division of the Federal Capital Territory, and a number of issues. And we are all agreed. And under Mekiawu, SAN, the welfare of judicial officers was a major point that he was pushing. Ngozi Nkojo-Iweala, our representative at the WTO, made the point that Nigeria has all it takes to excel, and that what Nigeria just needs to do is not to underperform, but to use its assets, its qualities, to make sure that we ensure sustainable development. And Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu, who also spoke at the event welcoming people to the city of aquatic splendor, made the point that, look, Lagos State has the record in terms of promoting the largest number of female officers within the judiciary. And of course, my Lord Justice Kudirat Kekere-Ekun, you will recall, started her career at the magistracy level in Lagos State. So it was a boasting opportunity for Governor Sanwo-Olu yesterday. But in any case, this is an example that should be followed by other governors, other states, irrespective of the fact that you have this tatu, within the legal community about nepotism, about, privileges. But the question I raise is that, look, when people get promoted, the main issue is, are they qualified or not? So if your son is qualified, you won't say because you are Chief Justice of Nigeria, you will not promote your son. But we look forward at this special moment to the agenda of Justice Kekere-Ekun as Chief Justice of Nigeria, a subject that was covered at length yesterday by this day newspaper, front page story.
I saw three things the Vice President representing the President had said yesterday in his speech was, number one, the supremacy of the rule of law, or respecting the rule of law. Number one, adhering to the separation of powers. And of course, also speaking to being able to respect dissenting views. Rufa has already spoken to that, and I align with a lot of things you've mentioned. Adejuwon Soyinka was also another journalist as well over the weekend that was trending as the DSS, even though they say he's been released and his international passport seized. But it is bad optics, so it doesn't speak to an acceptance of dissenting voices when we hear different journalists or a number of people almost being called in, invited. Look at the case of the NLC as well. The NLC president being invited on terrorism charges. So those things in just 1 year and a few months afterwards of this administration do not speak well of people who have dissenting voices. It would be interesting to find out how people feel, if they feel safer or they feel comfortable enough to express their views, a dissenting view, under this particular administration. If you listen, there's been more of a sense of intolerance for voices that do not align with the administration's voice. And that's one of the things we talk about, especially with great leadership in Nigeria. If you must be successful, then you have to ensure that you do not surround yourself only with sycophants who tell you are doing well, you're doing well. When the voice of the people are saying, oh, we are hungry, and they're telling, oh, don't listen to them, they are just your detractors. When people come out to protest, oh, no, they just want to overthrow you, they want to remove you from power. When you're not listening to the voices of the people, I think that's one of the hallmarks of great leadership, the ability to listen to the people that you govern. And then that ties in nicely with the keynote speech given by Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, where she talks about social contract. The theory of social contract is as old as philosophy in itself. And very loosely explained is that the people have either implicitly contracted themselves to the government, providing that the government itself takes over or is responsible for certain things, including, of course, security of lives and property, upholding of their rights, and things like that. And so when she says that Nigeria has all it needs to succeed, I don't think a lot of people will be able to argue with that. One of our greatest resources, as we often talk about, are the people. We have a young population. We have not just a young population, we have a creative young population. We have not just a creative young population, we have a creative young population that's hardworking, diligent. You see it in a number of ways, but unfortunately, this diligence is channeled in the wrong way because it hasn't been harnessed properly. We talk about our resources and many resources. So a number of things that we can use to build this nation. Unfortunately, shall we say that maybe hasn't gone into the right hands to properly manage. But many things, the conference is still ongoing, and I'm sure we'll get more reports from it and very quality conversations from them.
Just a point, the point you were making about social contract being an old concept. It's called social contract theory. Locke, Jean-Jacques Rousseau, and we trace it all the way back.
John Locke.
Yeah.